We have just completed a report into coastal states' fishing rights. One of the key findings of the report is that it is illegal for coastal states to allow fishermen to fish beyond sustainable levels. It's best seen using a specific example. So we've come here to Scotland and the Isle of Arran to investigate the position of the fishery on the Clyde. On the way to see the Community of Arran Seabed Trust, it's worth stopping first here at the Lamlash Bay Marine Reserve, which is behind me. This was called for by local people in response to overfishing in the Clyde. It's not a very large area of sea, and the public right to fish covers the rest of Scottish waters.
Coast is campaigning for a marine protected area around the south of Arran, and there's 2 other marine protected areas proposed within the Clyde. We think they will have a beneficial impact on fish stocks as well as preserving and protecting the species that they're being designated for. If the marine protected areas are not put forward for the Clyde, or they're not designated, we'll have to start thinking about other ways to bring the government to realise that they have to take measures to improve fish stocks in the Clyde.
Most of my experience comes from diving in the Clyde and starting to dive in 1973. And certainly over the first 2 or 3 years, I suppose we didn't really realise how lucky we were in the amount of fish and the amount of flatfish and the amount of rays and skates and anglerfish, sole, all these fish that we would see just about on every dive. In 1984, there was huge pressure from the fishing industry to abolish the 3-mile limit, and fairly soon after that it was quite obvious that species were vanishing in front of our eyes. I've personally witnessed the seabed after scallop dredgers have been fishing over the area, and the destruction that it does to both the seabed and the creatures on it is beyond belief. What the no-take zone has proved to myself, the local community and the scientists, and hopefully the government, is that by leaving just a small area from the damaging effects of scallop dredging, that the sea floor rejuvenates, and it rejuvenates with all kinds of animals and creatures. If we resurrect some of the inshore areas and exclude scallop dredging, we're going to make a huge difference to the quantity of juvenile fish habitat and nursery areas.
It's clear from our visit to the Community of Arran Seabed Trust that there's been a catastrophe on the Clyde. 3,600 square kilometres of sea have been effectively fished out for most species. The United Kingdom government has legal obligations to maintain and restore fish stocks, and so something has to happen to restore Clyde stocks. Proposals like the South of Arran Marine Protected Area put forward by the Community of Arran Seabed Trust go some way to meeting those obligations, but you can see there are real concerns about whether those reforms are going to remain on track. Our research gives real cause for hope, because organisations like Coast will be able to take legal action if the government fail to perform its obligations.